Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello all students in Dروس service which is targeted to their secondary grade first semester. Our lesson today is a revision for Unit 3, Unit 4, Unit 5 and Unit 6 of Mega Goal 5, prepared and presented by Noura As-Sufyani. So all of you are welcome. Let's start with the objectives. We will learn today correlative conjunctions and independent clauses, comparative and superlative forms of adjectives, an adverb clause, conditional sentences with present and future forms, and last verbs plus infinitive or gerund with different meanings for the same verb. Okay? First of all, we will start with correlative conjunctions here. If you remember, we talked about correlative conjunctions such as both and, not only but also, either or, neither nor. Okay, so these are conjunctions that come together in the same sentence, both and in the same sentence, not only but also in the same sentence, either or, neither nor. So here we use these conjunctions or correlative conjunctions to link to words, phrases, or clauses. Okay, we can link words together or phrases together or clauses together. For example, my favorite animated film is either Toy Story or Simba. So here we have either Toy Story or Simba. Here we link two words, Toy Story or Simba. Okay. Number two, he's not only hardworking but also intelligent. So here we link to adjectives, not only hardworking but also intelligent, and don't forget to use comma before but. Okay. Now let's see. Okay, examples of some correlative conjunctions. Here we have the conjunction both and. Both and. How can we use it in a sentence? Both my father and his boss were present in the meeting. So both my father and his boss were present in the meeting. Here the conjunction or the correlative conjunction both and here if you notice we link nouns, two nouns, my father and his boss. But the most important thing here is the verb. When connected to subjects with both and, use a plural verb. So you have to use plural verb if you connect to subjects. This is something related to the word, linking word. So you have to use the plural verb. Both my father and his boss were. It's not allowed, or it's wrong to say was. Okay, we have to use were, the plural form. Okay, for neither nor, okay, or either or. Okay, how can we deal with these correlative conjunctions? Using a singular or plural verb depends on the subject that is closer to the verb. So with neither nor or either or, we have to focus on the closest subject or closest noun, okay, near the verb. For example, neither my uncle nor my brothers want to see the car. The close subject here is brothers. Brother, it's plural. So we have to use plural verb, want. Okay? But in the second sentence, neither my brothers nor my uncle wants. So here my uncle is singular. Okay, so we have to use singular form of the verb. Is that clear? Now let's evaluate here. Combine each pair of sentences using a paired conjunction. Paired here, it means correlative, right? For example here, Jack isn't old enough to vote. Richard isn't old enough to vote. So we have to use neither Jack nor Richard is old enough to vote. Okay, neither Jack nor Richard is that singular plural because Richard here is singular. I'll call you later. I'll email you later. So what do you think the appropriate correlative conjunction that I have to use in this sentence? I'll call you later. I'll email you later. I'll either call you or email you later. I'll either call you or email you later, okay? Number 2, we're not angry, we're not disappointed. So what do you think the correct correlative conjunction here? We're neither angry nor disappointed. If you notice here, we link two adjectives, all right? Two adjectives, okay? Number 3, ice is a state of water, vapor is a state of water. So what do you think the correct correlative conjunction here? Both ice and vapor are states of water. Both ice and vapor, okay, are states of water. If you notice here, we use the verb are, plural form, because here we use both and, okay? Now let's move to the second part here, independent clauses with and, but, or, so, and yet. And, but, or, so, and yet here they are coordinating conjunctions used with independent clauses, okay? Number 1, I ordered the engine part online, but now I can't find the confirmation number. Here I use but, a conjunction, but, coordinating conjunction, because here we have opposite thoughts, all right? Number 2, the conference hall was in air conditioned, so I demanded a refund. Because here we have a cause and a result, we use so. I like the book, yet I hated the DVD film. Okay, I use the coordinating conjunction yet. And if you notice here, in the 3 sentences, we add comma before coordinating conjunction. So you have to use a comma before the coordinating conjunctions. Don't forget that. Let's check our understanding. Rewrite the independent clauses as one sentence using a coordinating conjunction. You can admit your mistake. You can just hope no one notices it. So if I want to join the 2 sentences here, I have to use or, because I have 2 choices. We have choices, right? You can admit your mistake, or you can just hope no one notices it. So I use or and I add comma before it. Now let's see number 1. He's a vegetarian. He's not going to eat any beef burgers. So what do you think here the correct coordinating conjunction will be? Because here we have cause and a result, okay, we have to use so. He's a vegetarian, so he's not going to eat any beef burgers. I use so and I add comma before it. Number 2, he's very comfortable in the US. He continues to miss his home in Brazil. Here we have 2 feelings, and these 2 feelings are opposite. So what do you think the correct coordinating conjunction? Absolutely, it's but, okay? He's very comfortable in the US, but he continues to miss his home in Brazil. I use but and I add comma before it. Is that clear? Now the third thing that we will revise today is the comparative and superlative form, the comparison form, okay? If you notice here, okay, we will deal with adjectives as a positive, okay? And then if we want to make a comparative form, it means between 2 persons or 2 things or 2 ideas. And if we want to make a superlative form, it's one, okay, among more than 2, okay? So this is the meaning of superlative, all right? What about here short adjective? Let's start with short adjectives. For example, small, big, nice, short, long. As I told you before that the short adjective, small, big, nice, short, long, they consist of 1 syllable. So we call them short adjectives, okay? So if they are short adjectives, how can we form comparative and superlative? For example, here, positive form, clean. The adjective is clean, which is short adjective. If I want to make a comparative form, I have to add er. Clean, cleaner. Clean, cleaner than. Superlative form, the cleanest. The cleanest. Okay? What about long adjectives? Like difficult, beautiful, important, interesting. Long adjectives, they are the adjectives that consist of more than one syllable. For example, here, difficult. It consists of 3 syllables, okay? So how can we form comparative and superlative forms if the adjectives are long? For example, difficult. Here, if I want to make a comparative form, I have to add more before the adjective. More difficult than, more difficult than. But the superlative form, the most difficult, the most difficult. More beautiful than, the most beautiful. More important than, the most important. More interesting than, the most interesting. Okay? So this is the form for the short adjective and long adjective, right? Let's see the evaluation here. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the adjectives in parentheses. Mercury is close to the sun than any other planet. So here, if you notice, the word than tells us that the form here is comparative. It's not superlative. So how can we make a comparative form? Close, is it a short adjective or long adjective? It's short adjective. So how can we form a comparative form of the short adjective? By adding er. So we say that Mercury is closer to the sun than any other planet. Number 2, the planet that is far from the Earth is Neptune. So what do you think? Is it comparative or superlative here? It's superlative, and because here far, it's an irregular adjective, and it's short adjective, we have to add est. So we say that the planet that is the furthest or farthest, we can say furthest or farthest from the Earth, is Neptune. Number 3, Pluto has been called a dwarf planet because it's considerably smaller than any of the planets in our solar system. So here we have small, short adjective, and we have than. So you think, is it comparative or superlative? Of course, it's comparative, alright? So we can say smaller than, smaller than. Pluto has been called a dwarf planet because it's considerably smaller than any of the planets in our solar system. Number 4, Brad has 3 brothers and old one is an astrophysicist. So here, what do you think the form? Is it comparative or superlative? Old, here one among 3. So it's superlative of the short adjective. Brad has 3 brothers and the oldest or the eldest, we can say oldest or eldest one, is an astrophysicist, right? Okay, let's move to the 4th grammatical structure today about adverb clauses. Adverb clauses. Adverb clauses, okay, deals with 4 categories. Number 1, reason, okay, and there are some words that we have to use them in adverb clauses with that indicates reason. So here we have because of, since, now, that. For example, they closed the store early since there were no customers, and they went to the mall because of the sale. So here we have since and because of indicates there is a reason for that. Why did they close the store early? Because there were no customers. So I use since to indicate the reasons here. And also because of indicates reasons. But we have to be careful when we use because of. We have to use a noun or a noun phrase after it. Okay, not sentence. Okay, we have to use noun or noun phrase with because of. All right. Number 2, with the second category, is purpose. Okay, what are the words that we have to use them in the clauses that indicates the purpose meaning? In order to, or so that. In order or in order to, so and so that. Advertisements use many techniques in order to convince people to buy products. Here I use in order to. Number 2 here, I left my wallet at home so that I wouldn't be tempted to buy anything. So that. if you notice here, the bold sentences or the bold clause here, okay, it indicates there is a purpose. Why I do that? Because there is a purpose that I tend to reach, okay? So purpose here, in order to convince people to buy products, and so that I wouldn't be tempted to buy anything. This is the purpose, okay? But we have to be careful when we use in order to. In order to must be followed with the base form of the verb. It means that in order to convince, in order to write, in order to go. So the verb after in order to should be in the base form, okay? What about so and so that? The clauses with so and so that usually include a model. A model like will have, a must. Okay, so this is the meaning of model, right? So after so and so that, okay, the clauses include a model. Number 3, okay, the third category here is conditions. I use adverb clauses to mean or to clarify the conditions here. For example, I have to use some words or linking words like if, even if, in case, only if, unless. These words indicate the conditions purpose, okay? I'll write down my phone number in case you need it. We won't go to the picnic if it rains. We're going to the picnic even if it rains. Okay, so here I use in case, if, even if. After these words, we have the adverb clauses. You need it, it rains, it rains. Okay, so but there are some points that you have to be careful. For example, if. Using if in the adverbial clause indicates that the condition here affects the result. Okay, we won't go to the picnic if it rains. It means that we will go to the picnic, but if it rains, we won't go to the picnic. So here the condition, the raining, okay, will affect the result. Okay. But if we use even if, it means that it doesn't affect, and the condition here doesn't affect the result. We will go to the picnic. Even if it rains, we will go, all right? So here it doesn't affect. So this is the difference between if and even if. And also you have to use the present tense. It rains, okay? And if you see the two sentences here, it rains. Use the present tense with if clause even if it refers to the future time. Okay, the last category here is place. What are the words that used with the verbal clause to indicate the place here? Where, wherever, everywhere. He buys something wherever he goes. The advertisements were placed everywhere you could imagine. So here you could imagine and he goes, they are adverb clauses used with wherever and everywhere to indicate the place meaning. Okay, so finally here we have, okay, summarizing for the categories. We have reasons, purpose, conditions, and place, and there are specific words that we need to use with the clauses here, adverb clauses in each category. Circle the correct adverb to complete each sentence. Number 1, they sold out of the new chips only if or because they were on sale. So what do you think? Is it a reason, purpose, condition, or place? It's reason, so we have to use because, okay? Number 2, many people buy bottled water even if so they can drink the water from their tap. What do you think here? Is it condition, the reason, purpose, or place? It's purpose, so we use so. If because you want to go shopping, I'll go with you. So what do you think here? Is it a purpose, reason, condition, or place? Of course, if it's a condition. The last one, unless or everywhere you go, there are things for sale. Do you think here the clause indicates reason, purpose, or condition, or place? Absolutely, it's place. Okay, everywhere you go, there are things for sale. Is that clear? Now, let's move to the form, meaning, and function, okay? How can we use conditional sentences? Conditional sentences, it means that the if clauses, all right? With if to talk about causes and results. If you want to talk about cause and result, how can we use the conditional sentences? First of all, we have present facts. For example, if you pick a fish out of water, it dies. Of course, this is a fact. And the fact here happens in the present. So here we have pick and dies. We have two clauses, the if clause and the result clause, the cause clause and the result clause. So here we have to use the simple present tense in both clauses because the result happened, okay, in the present, okay? So if you pick a fish out of water, present, it dies, also present, okay? Number 2, future facts. If I get free breakfast, I'll get fat. The result here, getting fat, will happen in the future, and it's a fact. So the fact here will happen in the future. In this case, we have to use the simple present in the if clause, if I get, or the cause clause, and the future would be going to or will in the result clause. This is the result clause. We have to use the future will or be going to. I'll get fat or I'm going to get fat, okay, if you are sure. The last part here is may and might. If you aren't sure, if something which is possible but you aren't sure, okay, about the result. So if they get married, they may have problems later. So here we have the verb if they get married and they may have problems later. We use, of course, here in the if clause or cause clause, we use the present tense, and in the result clause, we use may and might when, because here the result is possible but not certain. Okay, so we have 3 cases for if clauses or conditional sentences that indicates the cause and result. If the result is a fact and happens in the present, so we have to use the present simple form in both clauses. And if the result is fact and it will happen in the future, so we have to use the present simple in the if clause and the future in the result clause. And number 3, you aren't sure about the result, but it's possible to happen in the future, so you have to use may and might in the result clause, okay? Complete the conditional sentences. Use the present and future form of verbs. If I buy a new laptop, I be happy. So here it indicates the facts that will happen in the future. Okay, so if I will buy a new laptop, I'll be happy. But if I not get one, I need to do the assignment on my dad's computer here. So, but if I also, it's a future, that's something that you are sure, okay, it will happen. So you have to use the future form. But if I don't have one, I'll need to do the assignment on my dad's computer. Number 2, if it rained a lot this week, the team not be able to practice for the big game. Okay, so here a fact that will happen in the future or something that will happen in the future. So if it rains a lot this week, the team will not be able to practice for the big game. If the weather nice, the team practice every afternoon. If the weather is nice, the team will practice every afternoon. Okay, so if I buy a new laptop, I'll be happy. But if I don't have one, I'll need to do the assignment on my dad's computer. Number 2, if it rains a lot this week, the team won't be able to practice for the big game. If the weather is nice, the team will practice every afternoon. Okay, what about here the last part of our revision today? The grammar for verbs plus infinitive or gerunds with different meanings. Here we will deal with verbs like remember, forget, regret, stop, and try. Remember, forget, regret, stop, try, okay, will be affected by the verb with infinitive or gerund, okay? Let's see. He always remembers to send his grandparents a gift on special holidays. And the second one, he remembers sending gifts last year. If you notice here that we have the same verb, remembers, okay, but the verb after remember in the first sentence to send, infinitive plus base form. And in the second sentence, sending, gerund. So what do you think the meaning for the both sentences here? Here, remember to do a task is something that he used to do it. But the second one, you remember having done something in the past. Remember a particular action in the past, okay? So we use here the gerund. What about number 2, or the second verb here, forget? Number 1, she sometimes forgets to call. Number 2, she sometimes forgets calling. In the first sentence here, forgets to call, forgets plus 2 plus base form, forgets calling, forgets plus gerund, okay? So what's the difference? In the first one is something that he used to do, not remember to do a task, something that he used to do every time or sometimes. But here, it not remember having done something in the past. It means that something or a particular action, a particular calling happened in the past. Okay, this is the meaning for it. What about regret? Number 1, I regret to tell you that I have a secret. Number 2, I regret telling you my secret. So here the verb is regret, and in the first sentence, okay, we have regret plus 2 plus the base form. Regret here, the second sentence, regret plus gerund. They are different. In the first sentence, when we use infinitive, it means that wish it were not necessary to do something. But here, wish it were possible to undo something done in the past, something happened in the past, all right? Let's evaluate our understanding here. Complete each sentence with the correct form of the verb in parentheses. I often forget the mail, then the next day my mailbox is full. I often forget to check the mail, then the next day my mailbox is full. I regret the car, it was too expensive. Here, okay, it means that something happened in the past. So here I regret buying the car. It was too expensive. Number 3, did you remember out the garbage? Did you remember to take out the garbage? Because it's a task, okay? And number 4, I don't remember in the house because we moved when I was only 2 years old. I don't remember a particular action, a particular things in the past, so I don't remember living. I don't remember living in the house because we moved when I was only 2 years old. Is that clear? Now let's move to the passive forms of infinitive and gerunds. What is the form, the passive form for infinitive and the gerund? Here we have everybody wants to be respected by somebody here. So to be respected. So the form of infinitive is to plus be plus past participle. Being asked to settle an argument can be occurred. So the gerund here being plus past participle. Change the sentences from active to passive. Number 1, we look at that picture here, okay? I don't like someone telling me to do my homework. This is an active, okay? Someone telling me. So how can I change the active to passive? I don't like being told to do my homework, okay? Being plus past participle. Number 2, he wants someone to give him the answer. To give here is the infinitive. So what is the form for the infinitive here? He wants to be given the answer. He wants to be given the answer. Number 3, Sheila wants her mother to help her. To help her. So Sheila wants to be helped by her mother. The last one, babies like someone talking to them. Talking here means that I have to use the form for the gerund. Babies like being talked to. Being talked to. So the last here, let's summarize what we learned today. Linking words and independent clauses. the comparative and superlative forms for the short adjectives and long adjectives, the adverb clauses, which has 4 categories: purpose, reason, condition, and place, conditional sentences with present and future form, if they are present facts or future facts or may and might, and verbs plus infinitive or gerund with different meanings here. There are different meanings for the same verb with infinitive or gerund, and also we talked about the passive form for the infinitive and the gerund. Okay. For the reference, Megagold, Students Book and Teacher's Guide, and also Google Clip Art for pictures. And for more information, listen, here we have the website ayineducation.com, and we have the Twitter account, and also the phone number, and the Ayingate for education portal. This is all for our revision today. Hope all of you get benefits. See you inshallah next time. Goodbye.